right here.
I am fascinated by the testimony of George Rivas. He's such a bright guy. He testifies very straightforwardly. Now, again, that was at his sentencing phase of his trial, which was back in August. He didn't testify during the guilt phase, but he did testify during the sentencing phase about the level of detail that went into the planning of these crimes, including getting ADT security officer shirts, getting police scanners, getting the extra antenna for the police scanner, having a contingency plan, having a smoke bomb to throw everyone off without hurting anyone. Bob ALTCHILER, what's your reaction to him?
My reaction is I was shaking my head, you know, when we were watching that. Just what a waste of life. I mean, it's just such a shame. I mean, he's taking a stand. He's accepting responsibility. He made his bed, and he's going to sleep in it, and he's going to get killed. But what a waste, because if you didn't know what kind of trial this was, it could have been a business trial where he's a CEO or an accountant testifying about, you know, business matters or whatnot. And he wasted his life. You know, he chose to throw it away, and that, in and of itself, is the ultimate, you know, tragedy.
And he shot and killed a police officer, which you really have to force yourself to keep in mind when you watch him testify.
Well, he is actually, and I don't lose sight of that, but it's kind of interesting because if you're gauging your own, you know, inside, what's going on inside you, and you're watching him testify, and he's talking about murder. I mean, he's describing a murder right now.
That's right.
And he's saying it in a way that is not sympathetic to him, but it's almost like, you know, he describes, he says, oh my God, he's reaching the left gun, and I'm thinking the first time was he reaching for his seatbelt. Like, oh my God, did I shoot a guy, you know, who wasn't even reaching for the gun? And, I mean, there's no excuse for murder. There's no, and that's not what you're hearing here. I'm no liberal. But he's describing it in a way that almost is somewhat sympathetic.
Now, do you have your doubts as to whether George Rivas really wanted the death penalty or not?
I don't know. You know, I don't know the man. That's the whole thing. And the questions that, you know, I have are, you know, when did he decide? When did he go to the lawyers and say, you know, I want to be killed?
Now, his defense attorneys claim that they were surprised, that he testified during the sentencing. During his testimony at the sentencing, he said, I want to be set free. The death penalty for me is freedom. That they were surprised. That's what they say.
Well, we'll take him at their word. I mean, if he just said a client, you know, a defendant has a right to testify. And it's interesting, if his counsel prevents him from testifying in a criminal trial, he'll get a new trial. That's not the role. Again, we're going back to the role of the attorney. The role of the attorney is not to tell the client whether or not he's going to testify. It's to strongly give him the benefit of advice and counsel.
But if he doesn't testify during the sentencing, presumably he's going to get the death penalty. Testifying during the sentencing, I would think, would only humanize him, make the jury like him more, and therefore militate against the death penalty.
Well, maybe he's defeating his own purpose. I mean, and then we get really complicated.
But we know he's a very intelligent guy. Right,
so maybe that was the case. I mean, who knows? Maybe he thought that by going on there and confessing and saying it was all my fault, you know, I really didn't want people to die. This is how it happened, but you should kill me. You should kill me. Maybe he's thinking this is the ultimate reverse psychology. You know, I don't know.
Now,
but,
if you're the defense attorney,
that didn't work. You know.
If you're the defense attorney in Newbury, do you want George Rivas to come and testify?
No.
Because maybe he would say, as he did at his trial, I was the ringleader, I was responsible, I'm the one that did this. You know, he really wants to take responsibility for what happened.
Right, right.
Doesn't that help you?
Well, it would be a great cross-examination. I mean, it would be one of the cross-examinations that you dream of, you know, as a prosecutor. But the fact of the matter is that really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Rivas was you know, was the ringleader, because the defendant in this case